Now, if you live in the city of South Haven, Mississippi, and you're undocumented, you have no rights. At least that's according to an argument made by the city itself. So now, in 2017, there was a case where police, while searching for a domestic violence suspect, went into the wrong home and shot and killed someone who was innocent of any crimes. So the man that was shot was Ishmael Lopez. Now, according to police reports, Lopez was not an American citizen. In fact, he's a native of Mexico who ran a small auto mechanic shop in South Haven. He was killed on the night of July 24, 2017, after police showed up to his home and mistakenly identified him as a uh, domestic violence suspect. So the officers had actually been looking for Lopez's neighbor, a man who accused of aggravated domestic violence. Now, police allege Lopez had appeared at the front door with a handgun, armed. Now, that claim is, of course, refuted by Lopez's wife, who was home. Wells said Lopez, who was not wanted for any crime at the time of his death, was killed by a single bullet to the back of the head. So he was shot in the back of the head, which means he could not have been facing police with a gun. So very different stories. Again, how can you be shot in the back of the head if police are worried about a handgun supposedly in your hand? How does that happen? And you know what they call being shot in the back of the head? Execution style. Come on, man. Come on. So, okay, so the family sued, right? They're suing the city. And now the argument from the city is that, well, because Mr. Lopez was undocumented, he has no constitutional rights. Meaning, if the cops accidentally kill you because they're looking for the wrong person, well, then, sad day for you guys. You get no money, you get no restitution, you get no justice because you're here illegally and you don't actually have any rights. Wow. Wow. Now, Murray Wells, speaking to reporters last week, who's an attorney representing Lopez's family, he said this argument was both chilling and insane, according to the Washington Post. Quote, in an address to a federal judge in an open pleading in court, the city of South Haven has announced that it is their policy that if you're an undocumented resident of the city, you have no constitutional protections, meaning that stormtroopers can come into your house and kill you without regard to any constitutional results or repercussions whatsoever. Now remember, in this case, no officers that involved in the shooting were ever indicted. That's why they immediately went to sue the city, because there was no criminal action. So the police ended up skating in this situation, even though they mistakenly killed an undocumented immigrant. They shot the wrong man. No indictment, no justice. So now they have a $20 million wrongful death lawsuit that's happening in the U.S. District Court of Oxford, Mississippi, against the city of South Haven. The South Haven chief of police and the officers involved. So again, there is no literal justice going on here. And what they're just trying to do is to get some sort of monetary recompense for the death of Ismael Lopez. I mean, it's insanity. It's insanity. Now, attorneys for the city of South Haven have since attempted to convince the court to dismiss the suit by arguing that since Lopez was undocumented, he had no legally recognized relationship with the U.S., he enjoyed no constitutional protections while on American soil. Specifically, no rights under the Fourth Amendment, which prohibits unreasonable search and seizure, nor the 14th Amendment, which promises equal protection to all citizens. Well, see, not a citizen, so I guess we can murder him and not have to face any sort of justice. Well, congratulations. If they win this suit, which again is going on right now, then undocumented immigrants, they're already in enough trouble with the Trump administration. Now here you have them saying they're not even citizens, they're not even people, and they have no right to life. So if we shoot and kill them, if we murder them, well, then it's okay because they never had protections. They're not actually people under our laws. I mean, this is absolutely gross. In fact, let me give you a comment here from attorney Catherine Kirby. So this is attorney for the city, right? She said, quote, if Lopez ever had Fourth Amendment or 14th Amendment civil rights, they were lost by his own conduct and misconduct. What? Now, wait a minute here. I mean, if he had any rights, he gave them up by doing what? Nothing. He was doing nothing. He was not wanted by a city, but of course they point to his former record, right? So he had a couple of misdemeanors early on in his life and had been deported a couple of times. But, you know, he came back, he ran a business, he employed people. And so, look, none of that is deserving of the death penalty of being murdered in your home, especially if the cops weren't even looking for you in the first place. They were looking for someone else. I mean, look, this is a great example of the othering of people of color, right? In this case, Latino. How can you be an attorney that actually tries to make the argument that, oh, hey, man, he wasn't a citizen, so he deserved to be shot. He wasn't protected from being murdered. How many times have people said about immigrants, shoot them, shoot them? Well, in this case, they actually did. They actually did. But this is how the right wing, this is how people in Mississippi apparently feel about immigrants. We don't care if they are murdered in their homes. We don't care. We don't care. Now, here's the thing. The argument that the city is using has to be wrong. Look, the Washington Post noted the U.S. Supreme Court has ruled on multiple occasions that people on U.S. soil, even if they're not citizens, are guaranteed certain basic rights, no matter their immigration status. And look, we've got plenty of non-citizen resident aliens, people who live here, people who are allowed to live here, people who are allowed to work here who are not citizens. If this ruling, or if this case ends up ruling in the favor of the city, then at least in Mississippi, even those resident aliens that are here legally but are not citizens, can they also be murdered in their homes too by police and face zero repercussions? This has disastrous consequences. Disastrous consequences. And so I hope that they're, that the city does not win. These people, the family for Ishmael Lopez, I hope they win this case and enshrining that at least immigrants have the right, even if you're undocumented, to not be murdered in your home. I mean, it seems like the least, thing to ask. Hey guys, hopefully you enjoyed that free video. Now I'm going to have to ask you a favor. Between the demonetization and the YouTube algorithm messing around with view counts, etc., we're having a hard time adjusting to the new YouTube reality, which is where you guys come in. See, we have a Patreon, patreon.com/TYTNation, set up to help us rely on you guys, the viewers, instead of big corporate ads. Look, you know the show. You know how I'm not in favor of big corporations anyway. So help us transition away from relying on the ad model to pay the bills and sign up to be a patron, patreon.com/TYTNation. That goes a long way to help us keep the lights on. And you guys will know that you're supporting independent progressive media.